I'm down here in front of the water fountain. We are in between the jailhouse, the federal court building. I just went up where it's a little bit quieter right now to try to update everybody on what was going on here in court today. Court is still not over. They're back in session right now. Ammon Bundy is still on the stand. He's been on the stand all morning. This water fountain is where Lady Liberty, Fish's horse, comes down and drinks out of, and he's marching around. I just came over here to get a little bit more away from the courthouse so I could concentrate a little bit more and try to update you. As I said, Ammon Bundy's been on the stand all day. He had some really good testimonies so far. We had Mumford, Ammon's attorney. He corrected the judge, or blew up at the judge today for the third time in the past 2 days. He accused her of possibly causing it to be a mistrial. The judge reacted to him like she did not know what he was talking about. And she told him to lower his voice, quit pointing his finger at her. Mumford had every reason why to bring the issue up. In front of the jury, the judge shut down Ammon earlier today and wouldn't let him continue talking about the part of the subject that he was talking about. And Mumford was obviously upset about it. And the government had not objected to it at that point. And we're seeing a lot of this. The judge objects before even the government prosecution objects to a situation. They would not allow Ammon to read out of the Constitution. It was warranted that he could. They asked him why he was in Burns, Oregon during that time, and how did he feel like that he could have a redress of grievances with the government, politicians such as congressmen, county commissioners, the sheriff. And when Ammon reached out, he said the reason he felt that he did was because of the Constitution, and he pulled it out of his pocket to read from it. Before the government even objected to it at all, the judge started saying, no, you're not going to read that. And so he calmly put it back in his pocket. They're not wanting some of this truth to come out. Another incident is where how Ammon forms his belief that the Constitution is inspired. And he believes that the Constitution was inspired by God. And Mumford asked him, did he have the Book of Mormon with him, and asked him to open it up to a spot in there, and would he read out of it? The judge again shut him down and would not let him read from it. And about that same time, the government actually stood up just plumb out of line and objected. And Mumford quickly spoke back. You don't even know why you're objecting, he told the government. And the prosecutor sat down really quickly without even answering. It's obviously that they're being coaxed by the judge to either object or just objecting for no reason at all. But I would say at least half of the questions are usually objected to, and they're trying to shut this stuff up. Looking at my notes here real quick again, one of the things I've noticed here is that God has been brought up a lot in this last 2 days, and it's obvious that our conscience our religious beliefs, and God is on trial. This is not anything else but religious persecution, constitutional persecution, and it's totally obvious of what's going on in here. We had a witness yesterday, a gentleman that came over from Idaho, and he was a witness on the stand. His name was Lee Rice. He also had another court date, a court appearance for himself in another court building across the street here in the county court. And but he was at the refuge, Lee Rice was, and he was brought up on the stand for the defense. But I guess at one point he had walked upstairs to the 13th floor and was sitting in on the trial. And he had not been a part of this trial at all up until this point. He had no intentions on doing anything or hearing anything out of line. He just was in the 13th floor. The prosecution is trying to have his testimony stricken from the court because he was in part of the court hearing in the morning before his testimony. The government side, a couple of the defense lawyers brought up the point that there's an FBI agent. His name is Rodney Walker. He has been very involved in this trial, in the prosecution part, the negotiation stuff. He sits in the courtroom. He sits in the courtroom every day. He has been on the witness stand and testified on the witness stand as a witness. But he is allowed to sit in on the whole trial and still be a witness. Trying to object to one short witness because he was in the stand in the audience listening, but they don't object to their own witness when he's there the whole time and he's actually a FBI agent. I don't see how that's fair, and neither does the defense team. I sat in the 13th floor where the video monitor is of the courtroom all morning, and I get a very good view of it. It's a little bit more comfortable surroundings. You get to see some of the expressions and stuff of the audience there, and it's obvious that the audience is now seeing through a lot of this. So we have a couple of good points here, as Mumford brought up, of mistrial already. The corruption that's going on here is totally wrong. Yeah, Rodney Walker, he's an FBI agent. He sits in on all the hearings every day. He has his own desk that the government has provided to him, and he's also a witness for the government. He's testified on the stand at least twice now. And but he's allowed to sit in on the trial, but we have a witness that they're trying to disqualify because he sat in on one of the hearings in another room. There is one other thing that has been brought to my attention. There is an informant. I won't get into much of the details, but a paid informant. And all I can say right now is it'll be brought up probably tomorrow, the rest of it. But don't always judge everybody before you find out the full details. I don't even know the details, so I don't really want to comment much, but I have been asked to bring this up because people are quick to judge out here, and they find out someone got paid by the government, and they don't want to trust them. I don't know which way to lean at this time. I don't want to form an opinion about somebody until the total truth comes out. People are judging the Bundys for what they did, and the truth hasn't even came out. So sometimes we want to be cautious about judging somebody too quickly. And they possibly could be a traitor. They have also might have been been coerced and threatened, and they only felt that. I don't know. I don't know either way here. I just want to, I know it's coming out on Facebook about this paid informant. This paid informant is possibly going to be testifying on the defense side, has been subpoenaed. So before we judge too quickly, let's just see how tomorrow ends up happening. There has been a lot of threats from the FBI, BLM to different people. They threatened the Hammonds. That was brought up in court today. And we know that the Hammonds even backed off. The Hammonds kind of distanced themselves from Ammon Bundy and all of them too, because the FBI threatened to lock them up sooner, put them in jail, and also it was brought out in court today that the FBI even told them that they would could end up with a bullet in the back of their head, and it made them scared because of their family. And this was brought out on the stand today, the threats that the FBI has made to different people, trying to keep them from exposing what the corruption of the government's doing. To me, that's the same thing that the government is accusing the patriots and the men and women that were out there at the refuge of impeding the federal officers. The government, when they make these threats, they are impeding the justice of the people, and this is totally wrong. And so it doesn't matter if it's a government agency that puts out a threat or individuals. When these threats are put out by the FBI, as they did to the Hammonds, and threatened to lock them up early, that's impeding justice of the people. So that's a little bit of my update today. I'll glance at my notes here again just to see if I'm missing something. But the main thing here, I guess, again, I'm going to stress is let's wait till the truth comes out before we judge people. We can always be cautious, but we need to, before we start slandering, let's let the truth come out. And that truth, hopefully tomorrow, will come out more about this informant that has supposedly paid by the government. I like to see the real truth come out before I judge people. So I might have another update later today, but most likely to be around lunchtime tomorrow, again, before I get another update for you. God bless anybody who can get down here. Please get down here and join us and witness the truth firsthand. Help us out here on Patriot Corner, and no slander, just truth. It comes from our true patriot there, Lorie Kramer's daughter. That's what we want, is no slander. We just want the truth, and the truth will come out. Down here at Patriot Corner right now, it is very quiet. Most everyone is either in court, so there's no signs out yet today. We have just a few stragglers that have been outside the courtroom, mostly over on the federal side in front of the courthouse. Probably about 5 o'clock, we will try to, as soon as court gets out, we'll try to be back out there and have some flags and some signs out there as people leave in the courtroom. I'm sorry about that, Tal. I will try to call you next time. There's a lot going on down here on the ground, and it's sometimes pretty busy and hard to make all these calls and appointments. I do enjoy talking on your show, and hopefully this next time I can get on there. I don't mean to miss everybody's appointments. I did not say exactly who was going to take the stand. I didn't mention their name yet, but it doesn't look like this other person is going to be on the stand today. Possibly, but I haven't heard just yet. So far, it's just been Ammon Bundy. Up until now, it's been all day listening his testimony. This informant that I mentioned earlier is possibly going to take the stand later today or tomorrow. I'm not for sure. Main thing I was stressing there is if this person does take the stand, let's see how this testimony turns out before we judge right now. I would like to a while ago I was told that Ammon was still on the stand, but I may be wrong about that. I'm not up in court right now. But is Ammon on the stand yet? Okay, I just got a confirmation right now that Ammon is still on the stand. So it was very lengthy. Do you want to talk about anything that he's still on the stand, or do you feel comfortable? Okay. I got a bystander that's in court with me there all day today, all morning. But the chauffeur is Bran Thornton. He's over in front of the courthouse. There was a lot to talk about. So what Ammon talked about starting this morning is how he come about to know about the Hammonds, how he heard about it, the reasons he went there. It was pretty much a good story, just coming up so when I left, it was stopping to the point of about the time that before he took over the refuge or went out there, however you want to put that, but how the reason why he went to the refuge, and he felt that he had to address the situation with the Hammonds. He went there totally for the Hammonds. From the 15th of November up until the 2nd of January, there was no mention of the refuge. He had, not even his brother has come out there yet. None of the other people had come out there. There was mainly local people that was in support of the Hammonds. They were rallying, flying flags. They were trying to bring regress of a grievance to the county, to the government. They even notified Kate Brown, trying to get her to get involved. That was the governor of the state, and everything was totally not even listened to. They didn't even answer him back, and he was very concerned for the Hammonds and seeing them go to prison. This is pretty much what was covered up until I left out of court, and the rest of the day I'm suspecting it's going to be more about what all happened as they went to the refuge and took their stand. So that will be for tomorrow. I should have a better update and a better understanding of the rest of what's going on there. So I'll sign off for now. Thanks for listening in, and we'll have you some more information tomorrow. God bless everybody. Well, it's after court on Thursday evening here. They didn't bring Ammon Bundy back up after 3 o'clock. We
Okay, real quick to interview everybody. This is Mama Bear. We're going to knock it out of the park, okay? Just don't worry about it.
So, it's after court again. We are dismissed for today. This is Thursday evening. We'll have court again tomorrow. Ammon did not take the stand after 3 o'clock, after the last recess. We had 2 other witnesses that took the stand. One of those was the founder of the PPN, Patriot Pacific Network. He took the stand towards the last there. He brought up that he went there to try to de-escalate the area and help with it. He brought a convoy of 19 vehicles. In his testimony, things were brought up, things as such that he brought guns to protect him and himself. He was trying to de-escalate the area, the situation. He went and contacted the FBI and Sheriff Ward, and everything was peaceful that Ammon was doing. and that he did not see a heavy gun presence. One thing that was really interesting that got brought up, he's a gun instructor, and he also teaches gun safety, gun instructions in Oregon and Idaho both, and that the FBI contends that 18 rounds of ammunition was shot off there at the refuge during target practices, and he said that, and they asked if Ryan Bundy asked him if 18,000 rounds was a lot of ammunition. He said absolutely not. At any given time when they're target practicing, 3,000 to 5,000 rounds of ammunition is used per person sometimes. So 18,000 rounds, he said, was not a lot of rounds. And another witness that we had was Michele, Congresswoman Michele Fiore. And I have a hard time pronouncing her last name. I've never got it straight. But she took the stand, and they asked her some questions concerning Lorie Finicum, and the defense attorney that was asking the questions asked if she was familiar with the killing of Lorie Finicum, and she says, "Are you referring to the murder of Lorie Finicum?" The judge shut her down immediately and instructed the defense attorney to not go that route again, and that they needed to instruct their witnesses and make sure that they did not go down that road. But it did get brought out. The prosecution and the government, they did not object to that. The judge just keeps objecting and overruling before the government even has a chance. Michele, I think there was more objections with Michele's testimony than there was at any of the others. Another good point, they were asking if anyone at the refuge broke any laws, and Michele said absolutely not. The judge then instructed her again and told her not to interpret the law, that it wasn't her job and she wasn't qualified to interpret the law. If everyone understands, and Michele made this statement as she took the stand, is that she had held 2 terms in Nevada as a lawmaker. She has wrote laws. She is a lawmaker. That's what she's done for 2 terms there in Nevada since 2012, and she continues to hold that seat. So she is a lawmaker, and the defense contends that she is qualified to interpret the law because of that. So there were some good points that taken place. Ammon Bundy will take the stand again tomorrow morning, and it looks like his testimony should end sometime tomorrow. They also have another couple of witnesses that are supposed to take the stand tomorrow afternoon after his testimony is completed. So that's a little bit of what happened today. I'm not trying to make this too long, so I'll turn this around, let you see a little bit what's going on out in front of the courthouse real quick before I sign off. There's another group of people that do support us. They're not exactly with us, they're not, but they sometimes invoke anger with the police sometimes. They're not against us, but they're down here. They are pretty vocal sometimes, and Lisa Bundy was still here today. She's leaving. This is her last evening here. Thank you for being on here from Norway. So I'll try to go over the messages a little later. I appreciate everybody signing on and checking in, and I'll have some more updates tomorrow.
Stay tuned for God's Not Dead 3.
So y'all have a good day. I'm signing off.